Good Friday afternoon or evening, wherever you may be. Thanks for joining us
Hey,
today. It's been a couple of weeks. What's up, Ingen? How you
hey,
doing?
Engin. I saw Engin a few days ago.
Really? In real life?
Yeah. In I don't know, what is the other life? Under life.
Well,
In real
yeah,
life, yes, yes. Face to face, yes.
face to face. So where were you? So I was supposed to be in Orlando last week, and there was a hurricane. That didn't work out. I was in Miami for 24 hours.
Yes, you did go after all. Okay.
So I drove down Saturday to Miami, saw friends on Saturday, and then woke up, drove down Saturday, saw friends on Sunday, woke up Monday morning, getting ready to head up to Orlando, check Slack, and decided to head home.
It was cancelled, right?
It was in person is canceled. It will be online at some point. Just not sure exactly when yet. They're scheduling that. It's only been a week, so
Yeah.
shaking through those details. But still, I got out of the house for 3 days. It was nice.
That's something.
Got out of the house for 3 days and drove almost 2,000 miles. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, yeah. That's fuck. That's like three and more than 3,000 kilometers.
Yeah,
Oh man.
it wasn't a bad thing. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It wouldn't be a bad if you own one of those self-driving cars. Otherwise,
But I was on roads that were really wide, like really wide. So I'm not too concerned
So-
about it.
to me that's worse for long distance.
No.
It really kind of like when it's wide, I'm very happy for an hour or two, and then kind of like it becomes too monotonous and too kind of I don't know, sleeping.
Welcome to the interstate
when there
system
is
of the
something
United
to do.
States. Yeah, that's just the way you get used to it here. When you get used to driving, that's what you hope for. You don't want little skinny lanes.
Yeah, but some adventure, kind of to keep you awake. Sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right, something. You froze, or I'm losing connection. I don't know, one of the two. Probably him. I think that tornado is hitting his house right now. And to make things more complicated, assuming it's me, I did not prepare the content, so Darren knows what the news are. Let me ping him. Let's see. There we go. It's definitely Darren, not me. Okay, I have no news for you. We need to wait for Darren to come back. So I don't know, what should I talk about? I have no idea. I did not prepare anything. I must assume that Darren is going to come back. By the way, going back to while waiting for Darren, because he knows what we're presenting, we were a few days ago in Edinburgh, freezing to death, but otherwise a lot of fun. That's where I met in person Engin and quite a few others. Half of the industry was there, not half, but all the important people. Anyways, it was great, absolutely great. It was first edition of future replacement of CNCF conferences in a very small scope. Okay, Darren, come back. There he is. Maybe. We don't know. Black screen. Doomsday.
Okay.
There you are. I was just explaining to everybody how I have no idea. I do not prepare content for this one. I don't know what to talk about.
Well, I'm back now. I'm tethered. So if I get, at least I know at this point, if I go out, it's because all of AT&T has gone down. So
here's the question.
Look.
If internet comes back to you, do you switch automatically?
no, in this case, I'm not going to because I unjacked the computer from, so I'm purely tethered now. So I apologize for that. This happened to me earlier this week. I had a live stream on Tuesday. I had not had any problems with the internet all weekend. Nothing happened. I go live on Tuesday, goes out. Makes no sense. But that's okay. By the way, we haven't introduced ourselves. My name's Darren Pope. This over here is Victor Farsick, and we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And most Fridays, including this one, we are talking about the things of the week, and actually this time, the things of the past couple of weeks. Today, I have Cheerwine Zero. 0 sugar. No calories. Let me tell you, not my favorite taste. Coke Zero, I really like. But a lot of zeros, not so much. This is one of those not so muches.
Well, now you know what not to buy.
But I'm saving 150 calories. But I also am filling in myself with even more, fake things. So, cheers. So, I got a little bit to share. I want to talk about us first.
Us? You and me?
Well, me first, and then you and me.
Oh, okay.
So nothing personal, but they finally posted on CD Foundation the community award winners, which we've talked about this when I won the Continuous Enthusiast Award. So it's now like, this is like being Facebook official, right? If any of us were on Facebook, right? So it's on the internet now, so it must be true.
And you just proved that that's correct. Kind of like you were enthusiastic even after losing internet. That was live
fine.
proof.
Well, it's only because we've done this how many times and how many times that I failed. I should have known. My gut was telling me, okay, hey, look, you need to get your phone set up. I was like, it'll be fine. It's been good all day. Anyway, okay. So that's about me. So moving on, here's what's about us. The DevOps Dozen. Now we're going to be, how can I say this? Maybe you can say it better. We're going to be brash and bold-faced we want you to nominate us for this. And there's actually 3 things to be nominated for. Now, in the show notes, there's going to be a link to this page. Actually, if you go to the website, across the very top is a DevOps Dozen 2022. We want you to nominate us. Now, voting hasn't started yet. We'll get to that in a second. 3 things. Best podcast for DevOps Paradox. So nominate us. And if you look below each of the images, there will be a name, a URL, and a description. I'm not going to tell you what to write in the description. Please be honest. Right? If you say, these guys suck, but I put up with them anyway, put that. That's fine. So we're just trying to get nominated right now. So first one's podcast. Second one, top DevOps evangelist. That's for Victor. That's for Victor. And you're muted if you're talking.
You're an evangelist as well. Why not you?
I'd rather, there's no way I could win all 3 of these. I'd rather you be able to win all 3. I want one of us to win all 3, and the best way to do that is you. Now, we could argue for a 4th, and I'll talk to you about this live, because we haven't talked, you and I have not talked,
No,
2 weeks?
You never mentioned the 4th one.
No, I haven't mentioned the 4th one. And the 3rd one is for Best DevOps Related Video Series, and that's going to be for DevOps Toolkit for Victor's channel. The 4th one, I'm debating. So we'll just ask live here. Under Community Awards, there is also a Best DevOps Book ebook of the Year. Do we put catalog on that? I haven't thought about it.
No, it's too old.
Is it too old now? Okay.
Too old.
Well,
no.
But anyway, since we're on this page anyway, I figured I'd ask, right? I wasn't sure. This page is similar to all the other nomination pages. You can see its name, URL, and description. Now, not all of them have, this one's a little bit different because it's the book. Where's my mouse? There it is. Let's just go to the podcast one just so we can see the real one. Podcast, where is that? That's 4. Actually, file upload. Oh, that's actually new. That wasn't there yesterday, so I guess it is everything. So name, URL, description, and file upload is not required, but description is required. We're not going to tell you what to put in the description. We will tell you what to put in name and URL. But description's up to you. Huh?
Where is the info you were showing?
Oh, let me go back there. So it's on the DevOps DevOpsParadox.com site. At the top, there's DevOps Dozen 2022. You click on that link. It will take you to this one page that has all the information. Now, since we're down here, and I'm going to be breaking these out to separate ones because I'm going to do a social thing on Twitter and LinkedIn, pushing each one of these 3 for the next 2 weeks. The reason why I say 2 weeks is nominations will close on October 22nd. And then they have a judging panel that will then decide who is going to be the nominees to be voted on. And that voting starts in middle of November. So, look, we haven't asked for a whole lot. We're not going to pay anything for this. Like, we want this to be above board and as ethical as possible. We don't ask for a whole lot. But a vanity win for all 3 of these things, I'm okay with a vanity win, right? Are you?
Yeah.
Because if you were to win all 3 of these things, and people in the U.S. will understand this, I'm not sure how to translate it to EMEA, but if you were to win all 3 of these awards, Victor, and you had $1.50, you could go to Costco and get a hot dog and a drink. But, okay, all joking aside, it would be cool to be able to win these awards.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
especially since I won that one for CDF. That was actually very surprising to me. And I'm very honored for it. This one would be the same thing. But if we can win, our little group can win all 3 of these, I think that would be pretty cool. So nominations are open. Again, DevOpsParadox.com. At the very top, there's a DevOps Dozen 2022. That'll take you to everything. Let's see here. Let me look at the notes real quick. You can hear? Okay, yeah, we're back. Okay. We'll be talking about this a lot, and it's going to be on socials a lot. If you're in the Slack workspace, I've already put links in there as well. We're going to be talking about it. That's it. Enough of that. Let's talk about the podcast. For 2 weeks, we had observability with eBPF, which keeps on getting hotter and hotter. We had Shahar on from Ground Cover. And since this is in Shahar, if you're watching this, I apologize because it's been 2 weeks and I forgot to listen to this episode this morning. But we do know for sure that eBPF is a thing.
Oh yeah, it's exploding, absolutely exploding. I see it everywhere. It's going to be one of those things in 2023 that everybody's going to be thinking how to adopt and what it is to begin with.
Right. And then this week's episode was what are service level objectives? And we had Brian Singer on from Noble 9, and his bio is actually pretty interesting. But we're talking about SLOs and SLAs, and one of the interesting things was with SLAs, if you set a 3.9, your SLOs need to probably be 4.9s. Just so you've got some buffer to hit your SLAs. What do you think about that? I think it's true.
Yeah, true.
Gives you the margin.
Give or take, yeah.
Because you can't do it the other way. You cannot have SLOs that are less than your SLAs. Well, you could, but then you're probably paying a lot of money out of pocket.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, you could.
Or you use some creative way of measuring them.
Yes. Creative meaning like Enron accounting creative.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's not what we're going to do. So anyway, 2 episodes past 2 weeks. Podcast comes out on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, noon CET. By the way, end of the month is when time changes again. And there will be 1 week at the end of the month to where EMEA will have fallen back and the US will still be ahead. That's the one hard week of the year. Well, actually, its sister week earlier in the year.
That should be abolished on United Nations level.
I agree, but United States is changing it in theory. In theory, this is the last time that the United States will ever fall back.
But in theory? Is it
well, I can't remember if it passed all the legislatures or not. But they needed to fall back one more time because flight schedules, train schedules, and stuff are all planned out just shy of 1 year. I can't remember the exact number, but it's like 330 some odd days a year that those schedules are made. So they had to get at least, because all those things were already scheduled, they needed 1 more year. So in theory, when we change time again in the spring, that's it for the United States. They will never fall back again. We'll see.
Well done. You're leading the charge in a positive direction. I like it.
Well, the problem with that is there's going to be parts of the United States that will never change out of standard time because they never change out of standard time. So there will be pockets of the United States that are an hour behind, always. Welcome to the United States. Okay. Let's get into this. Hacktoberfest is one other thing too, which was my Tuesday thing. Hacktoberfest is now open. The Jenkins project has a lot of Hacktoberfest repositories open and available, really simple. Are you guys doing anything from a cross-plane perspective on Hacktoberfest?
Oh, I've been disconnected from the real world for
2 weeks.
Weeks now, so
Yeah.
I
Don't know.
have a zero emails in inbox strategy. That's how before I start working anything, I haven't checked emails literally for like weeks. I don't even know what's inside.
So anyway, Hacktoberfest, active through the end of the month. Pick something from one of your favorite open source projects or find an open source project to contribute to. At the end, if you do 4 and that gets accepted, you get either a t-shirt or they plant a tree in your name. So thanks to DigitalOcean, AppWrite, and Docker, those are the 3 primaries this year.
Take the tree.
I wonder if the $5 a month for Docker is helping fund. Never mind. Heroku. Speaking of not $5, so when Heroku dropped their big bombs, probably about a month ago, there's going to be no more free plans. Well, now they have eco plans, which are basically the free plan-ish. They go to sleep. Which, if you think about it, that's what it should do anyway, right? If it's not accepting requests and it's not been active for X amount of time, it should go to sleep. So that's why they're calling it the eco dynos. $5 for 1,000 compute hours a month. How many hours are in a month? Do you know? Roughly?
No idea.
Yeah, about 750.
Okay.
So if you needed to run a couple, like instead of having a single dyno, you had 2 dynos. In theory, it's going to cover $5 would cover 1,000 compute hours.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're
That's
not
nice.
24/7, yeah. I mean, I think this is reasonable. They can't be free all the time. I'm surprised they've been free this long.
Yeah, I mean, free is not free. So free something giving for free. That's a marketing move, right? That's a sales motion. So it's not that much whether it can or cannot get free. Of course it can, because those who are paying are sponsoring the free tier of something, whatever that something is. I'm not even talking about Heroku. So of course it can get free, as long as that leads to leads. That rhymes. Leads to leads.
Leads to leads. No, it doesn't even rhyme. It's just 2 words that are the same.
Exactly. Okay. But
It's a verb to an adjective. So yes.
now, I still stand to what I said last time we were commenting on about Heroku, is that I don't think that Heroku is getting new adoption, right? I don't think that people who are not already using Heroku are jumping into Heroku. That's probably not happening, or in a very, very low volume. And from that perspective, I don't see why Heroku would have free something at all.
Well, being part of Salesforce, I don't think they really need to. Especially with Benioff saying he's wanting to be at $50 billion in the next 40 months. That's a pretty bold statement.
Very. But
well, I want to argue with you for just a second.
Mm-hmm.
And although I basically agree with you that you're saying that new people probably aren't going to Heroku.
Unless they're somehow related with Salesforce. But
so ignore that for a second. I still think, just because they are the grandfathers, I still think they'll get some, but now they're also going to be competing against Fly, Render, Vercel. And it would be silly not to at least compare Heroku with it. Because if you only need public and you don't need to do multi-region, knowing that Heroku is still running on top of AWS, that's why I would still keep Heroku in the list, because it's AWS under the hood.
Yeah, so there is no good reason. I mean, everybody uses AWS or some other cloud provider under the hood. I don't think that any of those you listed are having it on their own.
Actually, they are.
infrastructure.
Fly is
They
their
are?
own infrastructure. Vercel is their own infrastructure. I'm not sure about Render, but I would assume so.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means that probably Fly and similar are born out of company that in previous life was hosting or something.
Right.
Okay, then that makes perfect sense, yes.
So anyway, looking at this, the other thing that they added were mini plans for databases. For Postgres, up to 10,000 rows. I never like plans that do row counts. But it may make sense in some cases.
I mean, no,
Because-
I never thought about it, but why not, kind of? How would you count? What would be the humanly more...
This, what they're doing for Redis, you do it purely on storage.
Yeah.
But
Because
see, here's
kind
the
of-
trick. But see, with Postgres at 10,000, I can index it all I want. I can add in store procedures all that I want, and that's not going to count against me.
True,
Whereas
there
with-
is always downside. But what I'm thinking is, for me as a user who wants to predict somehow how much something is going to cost, thinking about rows in tables kind of sounds easier,
I believe it is.
right? Kind of to imagine, okay, so I expect this. Because how do you know what do you expect from in terms of gigabytes on disk?
It's hard, especially if you've got poor indexing strategies to where you're bloating your indexes. I mean, you could be burning disk for stuff that's never getting used.
Yeah.
Whereas with at least rows, you know what rows is. So when I say I don't like it, I just don't like it because I don't like it, just from a row count perspective.
Yeah.
But for a relational database, row counts make a lot more sense. Now for Redis, at least as a key value or cache, you don't have a choice. It's got to be disk because it's a
it could
mashup.
still be, how many thousands of keys.
It could exactly, yeah. And I got behind because of all the internet problems. Stefan, good to see you. Let's see. I saw Sebastian was here. There's Sebastian, and also Karen's here. And Ingen, we'd like to say thank you. The nominations have been submitted, so I wanted to get those up front. We'll be talking about that a lot more. Okay, so Heroku now has cheap plans, which I think is good. That will make me not want to move away as fast. I think it's reasonable. So now HashiCorp announced Waypoint on their cloud
Nice.
in beta this week. And I actually know the PMM on this one. I think she's a PMM.
Nice.
It's not that this, okay, it is nice, but I'm also thinking their platform is getting to be quite large.
You mean the SaaS or?
Yeah, their managed offering, because you got Vault, you got Terraform, you now have Waypoint coming in, you've got Console. All the pieces are getting in place.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they have really huge portfolio, kind of surprisingly huge. I mean, positively huge compared to their size. That they're not Microsoft.
yep. So it looks to be exactly still the same. I'm not sure exactly which version they're basing it on, but the thing they do give with it now is a good UI. Because the UI that comes with it, the OSS, is fine, but it's not great. This looks really good. And look, custom Git source right from the beginning. Never mind. Okay, so anyway, that is Waypoint in beta. Let's see what. Oh, how did I miss this? The new Dora report came out.
Oh, I missed that as well.
It came out, in fact, 2 weeks ago. I have not heard beep about it until I was going through some, just back post. Because this was when I was supposed to be in Orlando the 28th and 29th. So I got behind on some of my feeds. And this one was in that part I didn't get to until last night. It's like, Dora? Nobody talks about it anymore. I mean, people still talk about Dora. Don't get me wrong. But it's not the same as when Jez and Gene and Nicole were driving it. Was it just the three of them? I think it was. Yeah.
There is a theme every year now, right? Or something like that.
Yes. This year, I think it was primarily supply chain.
Okay.
So anyway, I have not downloaded it and read it yet. So that's one of the things for the weekend for me. It's a boring weekend, isn't it? That and vacuuming. I'll be reading the State of DevOps report and vacuuming. Got to do something. So anyway, long list. You can download the report here. I want to click on it real quick. Let's see. And, oh, of course. Well, it's behind a paywall, but that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, there is work. I mean, it's not just kind of random white paper, 5 pages, give me your email in exchange. There is value in this, so it makes sense that it is behind a paywall. Sorry,
Doesn't
not
bug me.
paywall.
That's fine.
It's not a
Well,
paywall, just how do you call
Say
it?
paywall.
Yeah, lead wall.
It's a lead
generation
page.
wall.
Yeah, it's a lead
Yeah.
page. Now the question is, I actually didn't have a note on this. Also, while we were gone, Google decided to close down Stadia.
I was very sad.
But you're getting all your money back.
And that was extremely surprising. Hey, all the games purchased, all the hardware purchased, everything comes back, except the subscription itself. But which makes
Right,
sense,
which
right?
is
Kind of
which is fine. Yeah.
because you consume that month that you pay. I don't remember last time I was so positively surprised how something was cancelled. All money back. Kind of. Who does that?
No one. The reason why I brought up Stadia is like, okay, it's always sort of like Google is a place that things are born and then die really fast.
Exactly.
So I don't, and that's, I mean, I'm not poking at them. It's just, that's what happens. And Stadia is the latest in that list. So I'm still hesitant in doing a whole lot of stuff with GCP. Not against it.
Yeah.
But I cannot go into thinking that GCP is going to be my long-term plan. It can be part of my plan, but not just it.
Yeah, I mean, GCP, you never know with Google, right? But GCP must stay simply because there's significant money being earned there. Not insignificant compared to AWS, but still kind of, we're not talking about will anybody use this or stuff like that.
Well, if we think back...
So I wouldn't be worried about GCP, but, just as I'm not worried about YouTube.
Right.
But then if you exclude those, 5 services, then, yeah.
We will know that those things are going to be going away when one day you go to google.com, it's like, we decided to get out of the search business.
But no, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm happy with Stadia because imagine this. Imagine that, I don't know, were you playing games before, Darin? Yeah, probably. Something.
It's been decades since I've played games.
Now, imagine that somebody gives you back what you purchased for the games that you played in the past and you never plan to play again.
That's amazing.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Kind of like...
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to play the games that I purchased on Stadia.
Well, you can't. That's the thing. The hardware will be dead.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Even if I could, I wouldn't. So, and I'm still getting my money back. So,
you got value for it for the games you bought. You played assuming you actually played the games.
Yeah.
So you weren't like me when I would buy games and just never play them.
No.
Yes, that's what I would do.
Sometimes it happens that I play for an hour only, but I play a bit.
At least a bit. Okay. Boy, we went off the deep end there. So anyway, the new State of DevOps report is out. We talked about this guy, Lucas Costa, and his writing to me is really good. Actually, this week, this is one that was earlier. It was October 2nd. He didn't know going on today. I haven't read it yet. You don't need Scrum, you just need to do Kanban right. Isn't that the truth? Am I out again?
Your voice is scrambled. I know that you're talking. I don't know. What
Am I
you're
back
talking
now?
about. There, you're
I'm,
back. Yeah,
I'm okay
yeah.
now. So my phone. Oh, you know what? I got a text. Let me put this into do not disturb. Is now on.
Yeah,
Okay, in theory,
exactly.
that should take care of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we just need to do Kanban right. Arguments?
I'm fully on board with Kanban. I never liked Scrum. I'm a Kanban type of person.
Here's the item I need to do. Am I doing it? Am I done with it?
Yeah, yeah. So it doesn't work 100% of the time, but most
No.
of the time you're working on something, you finish working on that something, and then you move to work on something else. Very easy. Applies to anything from brushing your teeth to working in software industry.
People can follow
And
Kanban.
you want to put 2-3 kind of limit, not only one, so that you can watch YouTube while brushing the teeth. So it
Right.
could be 2 tasks at the same time.
Yes. Yes, your work in progress needs to be at least 2. So you can have something
Yeah.
playing in the background. You can listen to a podcast and you can walk at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway,
I was
put the link to
actually
this.
explain. I had a conversation with some people recently about that, and I came to revelation that I think that Scrum is good only as a training process, for training only. Meaning, we do not know how not to do things in an awful way. Here's Scrum that will force you to do things in a certain way. And once you finish the training, then you choose what you want to keep, what you what you do not want to keep, and so on and so forth, and start adapting and changing and stop following that process as it's written in stone. But as a training material, until you mature a bit, or until you get rid of the shackles of traditional enterprise, it's good.
I think in that case, Scrum is actually better than Kanban if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
Because
kind of.
Kanban
it's
is
a way
too
how-
free.
Yeah, so Kanban there is no real process, right? Kind of like, or it can be described in one sentence. Scrum has rituals and what you do and when you do it and how you do it and all that jazz, right? So yeah, following the rules is good when you don't, until you understand what the rules really are.
It's sort of like playing football, soccer, right? It's at some point you have to learn all the things first, but then you can have freedom within those rules once you understand what the borders are. So
Yeah, and afterwards, once you learn how to play soccer, you can play it on a stadium, you can play it in a field, you can play it alone, kicking it against the wall. You don't have to play it, kind of, doesn't matter, but it's nice to learn the rules, yes.
right. Okay. One of the other things that I saw from Mattermost, which is an open source alternative to Slack, they've started a series on building CLIs in Go with Cobra. And it's current, right? I've seen others that have been out for a while, but this one is like super current.
Yeah,
So if you're wanting to learn how to do this, this is one thing that's on my list. I mean, I've done this with Java flavors, but not Go and Cobra. I attempted to do Go and Cobra, but because I don't know Go well enough, it was a failure. Did I fall out again, or am I still here? No, I'm
You're still here, you're kicking, yes.
All right. So anyway, a series of this. I think this week was this the first one? Or maybe this. Okay, I got out of sequence. I saw another series this week that was actually doing bubble tea on YouTube.
Yeah, I was about
Not
to
the
say,
drink.
Yeah, the CLI-based UI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be right after Cobra.
Yeah. But anyway, so I thought this was a good. If you're interested in learning it, I thought this was a pretty good post.
Nice.
Okay? And our friends at Nirmata did a comparison of Gatekeeper versus Kyverno.
Yep. Nirmata is great. I love Kyverno, but I don't think that companies should do those types of articles.
Why do you think that?
Because when I search for something, I very often search this versus that in Google. I automatically discard, do not open a page that shows a comparison and comes from the company of one of the products or projects that are compared. It sounds like, I don't know, what would it sound like? I don't know, it's too salish, kind of like, of course it's better than something else it's compared with if the company who is selling it is telling you that, showing you the comparison, right? I'm all into comparisons. I like comparisons. I just don't think that companies should compare their products with other people's products.
Okay.
I mean, if you're asked, yeah, kind of like,
sure.
Ask me, and I will tell you. But
okay. So anyway, a post on that, in case you're trying to understand the basics of Kyverno versus OPA, Gatekeeper, this is a good, if you haven't studied it at all, know that the person writing this is the person behind Kyverno. Right? Just keep that in mind. Understand the biases that may be there. But for both, there's a place for Kyverno and there's a place for Gatekeeper. Right?
Exactly.
If you're Kubernetes only, Kyverno might be the place to start. If you're more than just...
Yeah.
Well, it is the place to start, right. But if you're more than just Kubernetes, then Kyverno is not going to be where you start. Right?
Yes and no. Yes, it depends. So I'm not extremely fond, I'm speaking in general, not specifically about Kyverno versus OPA. I'm not very fond of, hey, we need to have one solution for a problem that will work everywhere, right? I'm not going to comment now whether Kyverno or OPA when you have other things than Kubernetes, but in general, it's okay to have 2-3 solutions depending on the platform, on the context, and then have each of those work really well in one of those contexts.
So let me finish the rest of the thought process. If you don't have Kubernetes at all, you don't need to look at Kyverno.
Exactly. Yes. Absolutely.
In fact, they even get to the point here at the beginning. The text of the article will provide assessments regarding the facets of Kubernetes only.
Yeah.
Right? It's not in little text. It is italicized, but it's not in little text.
Yeah.
And it's right before you get into everything. So I appreciate that because it's done in as unbiased as the bias can be, I guess. So I thought it was a good article, regardless. Okay. Look, we need to be able to get away from our phones. And now GitHub has made it possible to run actions in GitHub Mobile. Do you want to be able to run actions and do actions in mobile?
I want to read emails and not respond to them. And I want to watch Netflix and YouTube on mobile. Anything else is... And Google Maps, okay.
And Google Maps. Yeah, that's fine.
There we go.
Anyway.
That's how far mobiles can be used in my case.
Well, in my case, it's keeping the show going.
Okay, that's a good one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least my side of the show. You could have kept going, but then you wouldn't have known what to say for...
Only if I knew, yes.
Okay. A couple of tools I saw this week. Guardian was the first one. I thought this was interesting, and I like the title on there. Just because you don't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. This is for a tool for analyzing your AWS resources against best practices rules. There's numerous of these things that exist, but this is yet another one. Right?
Nice.
In theory, this is... Yeah, I mean, if you're still allowing point and click or other ways to create resources, there are going to be things created that you do not know about.
Yeah, I don't know. Does this work only with point and click?
No. I'm just saying in general. It's if you're not CloudFormationing or terraforming or something, then you need something. It's got some interesting UI stuff. I guess this is more bubble tea-ish. I like the report that pops up here. So it does the check and says, hey, this is it. And it's 62% okay. All right, whatever.
You know my reactions when I see things like yarn to install and npm.
I know, because, well, you can see it here. It's TypeScript and JavaScript. But it's probably using the AWS TypeScript under the hood. You know, it's... Hey, is it better to have a tool in a really horrible language than to have no tool at all?
Depends on the language. It could be Python. I still don't know how to run things depending on whether it's Python 2 or Python 3. That's still confusing me a lot.
Yeah. One other tool was Vale. I saw this from somebody that did a session on something somewhere this week. And this is the only thing that stood out to me. I'm having to write more stuff, which I really don't like. I'd rather get in front of a microphone and just talk, which is then now is really having to turn into words on paper or print. Vale, like the way I would do this, have you ever used a spell from the command line?
No.
So it's a command line spell checker. And there's some other tools that are like that. Well, this takes into this, but then you can also apply other rules to your writing. It's sort of weird. It's not a coding problem, but I could see that if you're writing documentation, which is where this tool came out of, having this in your pipeline when generating documentation could be really useful. Like catching you from saying stupid things. And you can create your own rule sets too.
Yeah. I mean, but, this assumes that you're writing that markdown in VI.
Markdown, no, it could be in anything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, because the moment anything becomes, let's say, VS Code, just to say something, you already have those things inside, right? So it's kind of like for the cases where you want to do spell checks or whatever from an editor that doesn't do it from inside, right?
Yes, I understand that. But what if you decided just to pop in and do a fix instead of in your normal editor, and then that broke? And if everything was already going through a pipeline anyway?
Yeah.
So
Cool.
That's all I'm saying.
Nice.
So that's veil.sh. Okay, your two videos, and then we will get out of here because you need to, I think you have a meeting at the top of the hour.
Maybe, I don't know. Let me check.
I thought you did.
Anyways, yeah, I have something.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so Scaleway was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's kind of like, DigitalOcean type of provider. Everything just works. Everything is logical. Everything is intuitive. I fell in love with it, to be honest. And it has even special things that you don't see normally. Kind of, there is, you get M1 servers. Kind of, which of the small providers gives you that? There is also bare metal. Very complete for being small.
Okay. And then this week was Kyberno versus Datree, or Datree.
Yeah.
Still don't know the answer to that one.
I love versus.
As much as we were just talking about. But see, you're doing this as a third party, not as vendor.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, you will not see me doing versus video where one of them is crossplane.
Right. You are not going to do Terraform versus Crossplane.
No. I mean, I did, but that was before I joined up.
Before, yes.
So that doesn't count.
That's fine. We know which lanes we're supposed to stay in, right? There's certain things we just don't cross those lines.
Yeah, because, kind of, if I would do right now Crossplane versus Terraform, I could not defend any comment on that material.
But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about Kyverno versus Datree.
Yeah, it's depends what you. I mean, the thing is that they started from very different directions, right? Kyberno started from admission controller, server side validations of your policies. Datree started from CLI. Kind of, if you execute a command, it tells you whether your manifests are okay or not. Now Datree is moving towards admission controllers. On the other hand, in the meantime, I mean, not a while ago, Kyverno also added CLI, but more for the purpose of testing. So kind of they're starting from different points, but they're converging to similar space. It's very interesting to watch them fight.
So they're going to end up pretty much in the same place.
Yeah, I mean, there are some
not exactly
conceptual differences, exactly. So,
Yeah.
but they will be covering the same space. Yes, yes.
Right. Instead of them being in two different parking lots, they're now coming into the same parking lot, but they're not going to be in the same stadium.
Exactly.
One's on the north side, one's on the south side. It's all covered. So, okay. So we'll be back next Friday. Are you? Wait, check your calendar.
Okay.
Because I think it's the end of the month. You're in Detroit. Which
and
we've already
next
talked
Friday
about. I
I'm
think you're home.
So
Are
I'm
you?
traveling Saturday. I'm traveling back home on Saturday,
Okay.
15th. But right now I don't know the schedule. So I will be in Dubai that week. I don't know
Okay.
what's the schedule. I don't know what I'm doing on Friday.
So we may not be here next Friday, depending on his schedule.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Exactly.
And we don't have a Thursday DevOps toolkit. We had to cancel that yesterday due to flight schedules changing.
Exactly. But I mean, most likely yes, because
Okay.
in the worst case scenario, I connected through a mobile like I did in Romania, right? It's not the end of the world.
A lot of people like
if
that.
it's- Yeah. If it's recording like a podcast, that needs to have a good mic and, all the
Yeah.
jazz. But yeah, for this, most
Yeah.
likely.
Okay. And of course, podcast on Wednesday, and then you've got a video for Monday, I would assume. I haven't looked yet.
Yeah, I haven't uploaded it yet. I will.
You have 2 days to do that. You're
Yeah.
fine. It's not like you have 2 minutes. You have 2 days, so you're okay.
Yeah. No, I'm fine. I have 2 videos in the bag, but I need 2 more to do this weekend. Otherwise, I'm not covered until the end of Detroit.
And since we're talking about that one more time, because we had some people show up late today, here's the reason why those are important. Because we want Victor to win the best DevOps related video series video. I don't know if we can classify it as video series, but we're going to call it that way.
Yeah, it happens more than once. It's serious.
Yeah. So just in case you weren't around at the very beginning, we are trying to get nominated to be voted on. So all we're trying to do is get nominations right now. Ingen's already nominated us. So if you go to DevOpsParadox.com, at the very top, there's a link to DevOps Dozen 2022. It'll take you to this page. There are 3 sections. There's one for podcast for DevOps Paradox. There's one for top evangelist for Victor. And then one for DevOps Toolkit YouTube channel. Not this one, but the other one.
Here's the deal. If you meet on any of the conferences and you submitted, I buy a drink. Beer or Coke.
Okay. Yeah, but then now you're doing pay for play. I was trying to stay away from that.
Okay. Then okay. Here's the deal. If you nominate us and we meet in one of the conferences, you're buying me drinks.
There, that works out better anyway, doesn't it?
Exactly. There we go.
I definitely I want to stay above board. I don't want to do pay for play.
Yeah. So you're buying us drinks. They, not you.
But then that's also now you've still bought the no, never mind. Just keep it above board. The voting starts in November if we make it past the nomination round. So we got to get nominated first, and then the voting comes out. What was that? The voting starts. That's on the bottom of this one. Voting starts November 17th, and then you have voting through New Year's Eve. I feel for the TechStrong people having to work until 5 p.m. on New Year's Eve, and then it's going to be announced January 12th. So this is a long.
Okay.
This is a long thing, but right now we're just trying to get nominated. So if we can get nominated, again, I'm going to say it one more time. This will be the one day to where I'm just sort of like reiterating it a lot. Podcast, DevOps Evangelist, and video series. All 3. And then below each of the so the image is clickable, so it'll take you to the right form. And then you can fill in the data that's associated with that image. And again, you have to fill out the description. We're not going to tell you what to say. Much like Victor isn't going to buy you a drink.
Exactly.
That's that. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up for today. We may or may not see you next week. We hope to. But if we don't, that's... Oh, thanks, Karen. Appreciate it. And also, since I'm saying, I'm asking people live here, and of course, if you're watching the replay, you're going to see this. Tell your friends. Right? Just say, hey, these guys are trying to... We get some value out of these guys. You know, I like them. They're boneheads, but, you know, we like them anyway. So we're going to go ahead and head on out of here for the weekend. And hopefully we will see you next week. But if we don't, we'll see you probably in a couple weeks. Because I think that next week you're definitely home in between before you go to Detroit.
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
You don't know
if there is a week between next week and Detroit, then I'm home, yes.
Yeah, okay. Got it. So you're Dubai next week, home, and then beautiful Detroit having Detroit pizza. We'll talk about that whenever we can. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.